Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned. Welcome to the bonus episode of the podcast, whose name I forgot. Welcome to the bonus episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. It's a bonus episode, so we're not picking movies for each other. This is the Smokin Hot Turd episode that all of our fans have been waiting for, I'm sure.
All of them.
But this may be this could be probably a kind of recurring thing once in a while, because there are many, many good horror movies out there, but let's be honest, there's a lot of bad ones. And I was thinking the other day, by the way, Zach, that I don't know. I was thinking of something unique about the horror genre. It feels like it's way easier to make a bad horror movie and get it out in the world than, I don't see a lot of talk about really just stinkers of a rom-com or, but horror movies, there's a lot of crap out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good ones, like I said, but so we each picked 5 movies for this episode. You ready, Zach?
I'm all set.
Let's do it.
I'm all set. Yeah.
What is number one stinker hot smoking hot turd for you?
Okay. The first movie on my list is it came out in 2023, Steve. And
really?
So it's a very, very recent movie. It's a movie that I had high hopes for. I saw the trailer for it. I was in. I immediately. Actually, I was so in on this movie that when in the summer of 2023, all the way back in the summer of 2023, when I think I just said 2023, but we'll move past that. All the way back in the summer, 2023, I was making my October list, all of the movies I was going to watch in October.
Right.
And just the announcement for this movie, I was like, this movie's in. I saw the trailer for it, got even more excited, saw the movie poster, got even more excited.
That's a lot of build-up.
Went to see this movie. Well, it's a smoking hot turd, Steve. I want to let everyone know how much this movie disappointed. Yeah, because you just said you have the ability to disappoint. There's more of a chance with horror movies, which I think is a very good discussion. I think we should talk about that. But this movie, 2023, The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, yeah.
This movie it's just bad.
See, I wanted to watch that, but then you've mentioned how bad it is before, and I'm afraid.
You should still watch it. Now, I want to clarify. Just because a movie is a smoking hot turd does not mean that you shouldn't watch it.
I mean, everybody poops, right?
Well, I don't want to talk about that. I also slightly didn't know where you were going I didn't know where you were going in the very beginning of that. In the fraction of a second, I was like, what? And I was like, I don't want to talk about poop. I want to talk about movies. So, yeah. Yeah. Because here's the thing. What is a turd to me? These are all subjective. What is a turd to me might not be a turd for you. I know people that really, really loved the movie Renfield. I thought that movie was pretty middle of the ground. Did not necessarily like it like some people did. One of my friends, Tim, shout out Settlers of Satan, Tim was like, "Hey, I'm really looking forward to you watching this. You love Nick Cage." And he knew that I think he knew that I just watched like all of the first 3 of the Universal horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
That October, he's like, "Dude, I can't wait for you to watch Renfield."
Yeah, I loved Renfield. It was great.
But I was like, like it was fine. It was entertaining, but I wasn't over the moon about it. And so all of these are going to be subjective. So
gotcha.
Don't beat us up in the comments too much.
I mean, one person's smoking hot turd is another person's dinner.
Exactly.
You're a scared beetle or
exactly. I love the movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Right.
You do not.
Correct.
I wouldn't say that you think it's a smoking hot turd, but also it doesn't matter what you think. That movie's awesome.
Moving along.
Steve doesn't exactly. Steve doesn't even want to talk about it. He doesn't even want to talk about it. All right. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Letterboxd says that this movie is The Legend of Dracula is Born. No, it's not. It should stay rotten on that stupid ship and die, go to the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So the crew of the merchant ship Demeter attempts to survive an ocean voyage, but, Dracula's on the ship. Spoiler alert, he kills everybody. And also kills the franchise because this movie is terrible. So, Steve, what do you want to know about this movie and why I think that it is my first candidate for Smokin' Hot Turd?
Does it have to do with, is it the storyline? Is it the acting? Is it the pacing? Is it I'm just kind of like, which aspect of it is bad?
Okay.
Or the worst?
All of it. It's all bad. I'm just kidding. I won't paint with a giant broad brush.
Okay.
That'd just make for riveting podcasting if I'm like, yeah, all of it's terrible. So first, I thought that the CGI of Dracula could have been better.
Okay.
If we're in 2024 at this point, if you haven't hit the update button on your CGI software since 2004, stop. Just stop. You don't get the right to make a movie. Stop. Okay? You need to update. You need new
especially in
software.
a movie where like there's so much CGI, right?
Well, and not just that, but like the cast is a decent cast. The cast is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Corey Hawkins in this movie. Corey Hawkins, I think Corey Hawkins freaking played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. You have David Schifferpfeffer. You got that guy? You know what I'm talking about? David Schifferpfeffer?
Yeah, he's in Dune and Oppenheimer. And stuff.
So David is in some... He was what was his superhero character in Suicide Squad? He was in Ant-Man. He's been in some really great movies. He's played some really great characters. Yep. You have Liam Cunningham, who was in freaking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Right? So there should be no reason why this movie is bad. There should be no reason why this movie is bad. But the CG of this movie, the CG Dracula, and it took me out of the movie too much. Okay. There is some grace that I can give for bad CG or wonky CG or CG that doesn't really obey the laws of physics or
like a CGI of its time.
Right, or a CGI of its time, exactly. But this movie came out in 2023.
That should
get your crap together, or it's time to pee or get off the pot, dude. At this point, movie studios need to. And who was the studio? that back this Smokin Hot Turds, Steve? Do you know? Clearly, I just got to go to IMDb and look all of this stuff up because Letterboxd is not doing its job. Well, hey, creators of Letterboxd, we know you're listening to this bonus episode of Smokin Hot Turds right now. Get on it. Okay, we need a Smokin Hot Turd button. By the way, Steve, can I just say, I have backing.
Do you?
My boy Mark from the You Run podcast, he and I both agree. Okay, this is now international because he's over in the UK, so it's international agreement. Okay. Letterboxd needs a Smokin Hot Turd button. So when you click on a movie, you have the ability to put logged or watched, like, watch list, and then rate the movie. If you want to write a review for the movie, you have, I've seen this before, no spoilers, or anyone can reply. At some point in the process of you reviewing, there needs to be a button that says Smokin Hot Turd with a little poo emoji and little fumes coming off of it. Because, because I got to create some list at this point for, anyway. So the studio that made Last Voyage.
There's Phoenix Pictures, DreamWorks, Wise Owl, Reliance Studio, Babelsberg, and Storyworks.
Okay, besides DreamWorks, nobody's ever heard of any of those studios. Okay, but either way, they got to be owned by a major. They got to be owned by a major studio. That's not the point. The point is that get your act together. Okay, get your act together. The CG was terrible. I thought that there were aspects of the story that I just thought would be better. And in my opinion, I think the trailer for this movie was just simply better than the movie itself. The trailer promised me one movie, and again, I want to leave room for me to be completely wrong with this, even though I fully believe that I'm not. But yeah, Smokin Hot Turd, CG Dracula, not that great.
Anything that takes you out of the movie like that's kind of it's hard to forgive, hard to get past. Not forgive necessarily, but it's hard to get past. Yeah. All right. Well,
anywho, that's my first Smokin Hot Turd, Steve. What's your first Smokin Hot Turd?
My first one is one that also I think came out in 2022, actually. But I've seen a lot of lists on YouTube and TikTok and stuff about this is one of the best movies of the horror movies of the year. Skinamarink.
For real?
Piece of absolute hot trash.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you seen it?
I've never seen Skinamarink. I've only heard good things for it though. So this is the first time I'm hearing.
Are you familiar with the somewhat new subgenre of what's it called? Analog horror.
Yes.
Okay. There's like YouTube has analog horror stuff, and it all to me looks like like VHS tapes for basically that, or movies that like they have that overlay of like the scratchy VHS look, and they're kind of slow burn things, or they're kind of weird maybe. But this whole movie, the whole hour and a half, whatever the thing is, I literally had to make myself stay awake. I could not. I was watching this with my family. I think I was watching. I watched it partly with my kids, partly by myself.
Mm-hmm.
My kids thought it was the greatest movie. They said it's so scary. It's awesome. Oh, whoa! And it's just so freaking boring, Zach. It's long shots, long quiet shots of like a hallway.
Yeah.
And like the light will kind of flicker a little bit. Like there's the nightlight kind of flickers. You're like, whoa, it flickered.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear like a kid in the background go, "Hey, where's my blanket?" And then like you hear like these like way overdone Foley effects, like this like a kid walking across the the carpet,
and
it's like way overdone, and you see little feet in front of the screen, and hey, where are you? And then the kid walks off, and then like there's another shot of like the wall, and something flickers, and like the window is now gone from the wall. And I guess I'm supposed to be scared now that there's no characters set up in the movie. There's sort of like the couple kids, and they're like, you get that vibe that they're wondering where their parents are. And then there was nothing to draw me into this movie. No point to it. Why was this made? There's lots of cartoons on the TV, like because the kids get up and watch cartoons. And of course, they're all like super, super old cartoons. And I know they're doing that to avoid copyright and having to pay licensing fees. But there's lots of cartoons on the TV, and things change. But that, I don't know. I really wanted to like this movie because my kids love this kind of stuff. And my kids are 16 and 21. So they're like Gen Z, solid in the Gen Z world. And the Gen Z kids these days like this kind of thing. So,
right. And
a lot of people that are not Gen Z do as well. Because I've heard reviews from people who are, maybe not my age, because I'm a super old man. But I don't know. I get not a lot more else to say. It's one of those that you may watch it, Zach, and it may be just fantastic to you, and that's fine. I will not say you're wrong, but I just couldn't. I wanted to. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
I've heard a lot about this movie, but only because it felt. I have a suspicion that because we are on the breakthrough of this subgenre of horror, that maybe anything that comes out is going to be boundary pushing or is going to be.
This is definitely a bleeding edge thing for sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so you just go, oh, well, let's also maybe you want to see where it goes. Where does this subgenre go? What can it offer? So let's like as much as we can so we can get more of this stuff.
Right.
So studios can, produce all of that kind of stuff. But the stuff that I've seen of it just seems, I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea. I've not seen the movie, but it very much reminds me of what you said. I could freaking make this movie, and by just simply asking ChatGPT, hey, can you write me a horror movie, and taking basic, really, really low budget basic ideas, and that shouldn't be, that's just not my particular standard of,
right.
Which is part of the reason why I've not seen it, because I'm like, okay. Also, this seems like a movie I'm going to have explained to me. I don't want the movie to be explained.
And it's one of the, it's not, I think even in my Letterboxd review, I said, I know it's experimental, yada, yada, but it's more of I think it's more atmospheric than anything. There's nothing really happening. It's just kind of, I think, I saw a couple reviews that said, if you want to get this movie, you need to turn off all of the lights and just watch it like with a silent house around you, and just watch the movie, because it's trying to pull you into that world of these two kids who wake up and they can't find their mom and their dad, which as a child, that's scary. And that's what it's trying to do. But any movie that, like, if in order to like it, I have to set it up in a certain way and all this stuff, that's not me. So
yeah,
do not recommend Skin and Rink.
All right. Okay, my second Smokin Hot Turd is another movie that I put on my 2023 October list, which will be deemed the year that I lost my taste in horror. I apparently did not know what horror movies were because I watched all the bad ones. I was texting you the entire time, like, what the heck did I do? I feel like I messed up. I picked all the wrong movies. I bet on all the wrong horses in 2023. And I picked 1988 movie called The Brain.
The Brain?
Yes. So it's sometimes a roll of the dice. And by sometimes, I mean more times than you would like to count. Picking a good 1980s horror movie.
I've just about given up.
They threw so much at the wall.
Yeah, they did.
And very little worked. Which, because Weird Movie is my middle name, like, I want to watch it. But you do run the risk of being like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, it's unwatchable. I will say this. This movie, I think, could be remade today and be a really good horror movie.
Really?
It has good bones, but the way that this movie is presented and shot and told, the story of this movie in 1988, no good.
Yeah?
Half star, Smokin Hot Turd. So here is the Letterboxd synopsis. Dr. Blake runs a TV show called Independent Thinkers, which is sort of a Scientology-like self-help religion program. First off, I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in, right? But he's not making his audience think any more independently with the help of an alien organism he calls the brain. He's using brainwashing and mind control. Again, I'm in. This is a great movie. The only thing that stands between them and world domination is a brilliant and troubled high school student with a penchant for pranks. This
what?
is where I'm out. Because you mean to tell me that this hyper-intelligent alien is being outsmarted by whoopee cushions?
Oh, my word.
Nope. Like,
But the penchant for pranks, I'm like, okay, this is a different movie than I thought it was going to be.
Uh-huh. So you're like, okay, well, let me see where this movie is going to go, right? It can't be that bad. I want to, because I want this movie to be good. Because I'm in. I'm sold. There are aspects of this movie I think that can be really good. You got to get the Scooby-Doo teenager out of this, of like the guy who's in it just for hijinks and whatnot. Because there's a time and a place for that 80s movie, right? The teenager that has the penchant for pranks. That's the tagline of every 80s movie, right?
Right.
I mean, we're talking like what? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's the direction that he was given. Like the director walked up to Ferris and was like, "Hey man, I want you to. You're just a regular normal teenager that has a penchant for pranks." And Matthew Broderick was like, "Boom, got it, nailed it, let's go." But yeah, I think that this movie has really good bones. I think that it has the ability to be a good movie, a good sci-fi horror movie today. If it was remade and
just done better.
And done better. Yeah. Or maybe even it could have been better with 90s aspects or 2000s aspects, but it was the fact that it had, this hyper intelligent alien and this hyper intelligent doctor who is being outsmarted by some, And I would have got away with it if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Like, it's completely ridiculous. And so, I really wanted to like it. That's what you're going to hear a lot. Yeah. That's what you're going to hear a lot. I feel like in this bonus episode is I wanted to like it, because who goes into a movie going, this is going to be garbage? But the brain, I think it's still worth watching, and there might be fans of this movie. If you're out there, I very much want to hear from you and why I should like this movie. Maybe I just need to be under the right influence. I don't have a clue what I need to do to like this movie. But as of right now, 100% Smokin Hot Turd.
Okay. Not enough edibles in the world.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. My next one, I've mentioned this briefly in passing in another episode. It's a French movie from 2021 called Titan. However it's pronounced, Titane or something.
Okay.
That's the French word for titanium.
Got it.
It won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival in 2021. That is the highest prize awarded at the entire Cannes Film Festival. Entire thing. It beat out French Dispatch by Wes Anderson. I mean, come on. Lots of other really good movies. And because of this movie, I have decided to never, ever, 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 ever trust the Palme d'Or or anything from Cannes Film Festival. It's the first movie that I gave a half a star to on Letterboxd. And it's got like an average of 3.6, which is pretty high for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The basic premise is that let me read this synopsis. So the synopsis on Letterboxd is not there's a glitch. That's not the right synopsis. Here we go. A woman with a titanium plate fitted in her head and murderous intent on her mind embarks on a bizarre journey of identity and unconditional love when she's forced to go on the run. Okay? Sounds possibly interesting.
Okay.
So this woman, she has titanium plate in her head from a wreck when she was a kid. Pretty early on in the movie, she has sex with a car.
Oh, okay.
And I will let the listener figure out how that could have physically happened, but gear shifts were involved.
All right.
And yeah, because of that, I guess the car impregnated her.
Nope. I'm out now.
Right. So that's enough, right?
You can give grace. You're like, all right, well, that's odd, but it's not the oddest.
Right. She gets pregnant and she goes on the run because she's a murderess, like it says. She likes to kill guys. She likes to do the thing of lure the guy in, and when he starts being horrible, because men are horrible, she kills him, and that's her thing. But then she has sex with this car, gets pregnant, and then she starts leaking oil out of her breasts.
No.
And she starts becoming titanium, like her belly, like the baby belly becomes metal. And I'm just going to spoil the thing for you, Zach, because you're not going to watch this.
That's fine.
She goes on the run. She pretends to be a guy, and long story short, she gets to wherever she's going or where she ends up. She sort of dies. I think she dies. I can't quite tell. I was kind of thinking that I was like on a bad trip or something when I saw the last part of it. The baby is born. The baby is titanium. Has like a blue lights running up its back or something, and that's like the end. And she has this horrible birth. She oil and stuff is everywhere. It's just it's just what the heck. And this is the best movie at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
There's no, that's just no.
So what was the point of that movie?
I don't know. I have read elsewhere that's like, oh, it's very in depth, like edgy look at the difficulties of being a pregnant mother these days and gender roles or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's not it. That's not it.
That's what we want the movie to be.
Right.
That's not what the movie is.
No. The movie is, not to be disparaging about French people. Movie is, it's a French art house movie that is, it feels like someone had they had an idea of what a French art house movie was supposed to be, and they made this thinking that's what it was going to be. But I don't know. It's like if you eat a nice meal that's been prepared by somebody who has heard about meals and they've heard about food, and they just bought some stuff and threw it together. And they're like, this is a good movie or a good meal. It's, I obviously feel very passionate about this because I really waste my life on this one. I should have stopped right when with the car sex thing.
Yep.
But I thought, where the heck could this possibly go?
Right.
And I did not expect for it to go there. So
yeah.
Oh boy, don't get me started. Oh, well, I guess you did.
I love that you say "don't get me started" at the end. You're like, oh man, don't get me started on this silly movie after I've already explained to you why I think it's a Smokin Hot Turd.
Yeah. So, bad movie.
All right.
Next. Next. Questions about it?
No, I don't know what else I would ask about a movie where a woman does such things with cars and then also gets pregnant. Like that. That's too much. That's too much, Dave. Okay, so my next entry for Smokin Hot Turd, number 3.
Okay.
Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Now, it doesn't take long in the Friday the 13th franchise for you to start hitting Smokin Hot Turds.
Oh, yeah. That's
so if we take the same concept that we used in one of our previous episodes, where they're not making a sequel, they're just extending the story.
Right.
Friday the 13th is one of those types of franchises where they just keep moving the story forward. Halloween is a great example of this as well. They just keep moving Michael along.
Right.
And you would hope that they wouldn't put, in this particular case, Friday the 13th series, that they, in the first movie, Jason's not even the killer.
Right.
Pamela Voorhees is the killer. Jason's dead. Or so you think, until he pulls good old what's-her-name out of the canoe into the water, right? But then the movie doesn't do from the first movie to the second movie, not enough time passes for Jason to be the body type that he is in the second movie. And so I think because they just were instead of logically thinking about where this franchise could go, they're like, no, let's just do more cocaine and just start gripping and ripping. Let's just go. Let's just go with this. And they just start throwing some illogical stuff. So by the time you get to, what is this, number 9, in 1993,
Uh-huh.
you're not out of ideas. Those ideas are very much still out there. You have the ability to resurrect this franchise with a good entry. But why? Why would you do that? That would be logical and fantastic. Why would you want to do anything that's not fun? Like, anywho. My biggest problem with this movie was the fact that within the first 5 minutes, they blew Jason to pieces. The opening scene of this movie is they had a FBI agent or some police officer agent pretend to go to this cabin, this random cabin or whatever the case was. And she basically lures Jason into this trap. And when he hits his mark, he steps on a landmine or whatever and blows up. But Jason's whole heart, Steve, they blew him in 50 bajillion pieces. But do you know what survived, Steve? His whole heart. Not half heart. Not pieces. His whole heart.
Okay.
Perfectly cut off at all of the arteries.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Perfectly. His whole black heart. First, how Jason survived any of those movies, I don't know. Beyond me. And I think because you were doing the writers were doing so much cocaine, they were just like, what about supernatural stuff? Like once they met the end of their whatever their logical train was, they're like, well, it doesn't make any sense if we do this. It doesn't make any sense if we do that. Okay, well, we need to make another one, so let's just add supernatural stuff to this because it's a get out of jail free card. And
yeah.
So anywho, yeah, like I said, my biggest problem with this movie is the fact that they blew him up in the very beginning of the movie, which is what you had to do the first time. Okay, this movie did not need to go 9 movies long. This franchise didn't need to go this long.
No, it did not.
It's one of the things that I kind of like about the Scream franchise is that the killer is reimagined using the same costume.
Yeah.
I didn't like the last Scream for the fact that they used what's his name's parents or what's his name's dad and siblings. Like I was like, come up with new. We want new, not you killed my son. So like, shut up. Nope. We built this shrine because he liked to make movies. Ugh, shut up. Get out of here. It's a dumb premise. It threw me off. I didn't like it. Anyway, I got strong feelings about it, Steve. I got strong feelings about it.
Yeah, I think with the 13th Friday the 13th franchise, I made it to maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't do it past that.
Yeah,
no, so, the one where he goes to Manhattan, whatever.
Yeah, that was actually later on in the that was later on, but yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Also, the title. You've been Friday the 13th, part blank, up to this point.
Right.
And now you want to change the title to Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday? No, don't do that.
Is it the final Friday?
Nope, it's not, because Jason
not.
X exists. And then also the remake. And yeah, so anywho, it's also never the final anything.
No.
Like, they just did Halloween Ends by David Gordon Green, and then just announced the other day that, or maybe it was today, that they're doing a Halloween TV series.
What?
And I'm like, so Halloween doesn't end then. We're going to keep these characters alive.
I'm with you. Like, just stop.
At some point, we just need to be done. You need to either come up with an actual legitimate story that makes sense, or you need to stop riding the nostalgia train to make money off of these characters, by putting them in completely illogical scenarios just for us to watch them kill innocent people. Like,
yep.
Anywho, got work myself up into a tizzy there, Steve. So yeah, I didn't like the fact that he blew up. They found his heart, and then the freaking weird coroner gets obsessed, and this spirit of Jason kind of voodoo-ishly gets into the coroner, and then the coroner becomes Jason Voorhees. Ah,
really?
Yep.
Oh my word!
Because I think he ends up eating the heart. Like he gets possessed, and then he eats the heart, and he becomes Jason Voorhees, and then now Jason Voorhees can be anybody, and the spirit of Jason then goes around through this guy. He's killing people, blah, blah, blah. And then Jason becomes somebody else, and then somebody else, and then somebody else. And I just, be done.
Wow.
You don't have any idea. You're done. You're done with the idea pool. I understand now why they shot Jason into space, but also I don't, kind of, because you sent him to hell, and now he's in space. I don't understand. I don't know where we're going with this franchise. I'm going to say maybe, besides like maybe the first one, maybe the second one, Friday the 13th. Smokin Hot Turds. But at least Jason Goes to Hell. At least Friday, the final Friday, Jason Goes to Hell. That one is my number 3 movie. I'm going to be done rambling on about it.
Okay. The next one for me, I noticed you rated this one with 4 stars, so I disagree. Tusk.
Dude,
I...
Why do you hate that movie?
Why do you like that movie?
That movie is awesome. That movie is awesome. Tell me why you don't like it, though.
It's just, part of it is just so freaking disturbing. I mean...
Yeah. It's a horror movie. It's supposed to be disturbing.
Yes, I understand
that. Don't patronize me with that. Come on.
It's supposed to be disturbing, I know, but none of it made any sense. It's like...
What?
I don't know.
It made complete logical sense, Steve. He answers an ad. He goes and he's a podcaster, I think, right? Like he's a podcaster.
Right.
So he needs content. He's whizzing. He sees a brochure. He's like, yeah, take a thing. Call the guy. The guy tells him about some weird stories. Hey, do you want some tea? Of course I want some tea. Who doesn't want tea? I mean, the rule of horror movies is don't take tea from strangers, but Jason Long does not know he's in a horror movie.
No, he does not know that.
Right?
He thinks he's still a Mac.
Exactly. He thinks he's still a Mac. Exactly. And so he drinks a tea. He gets his arm sewed to himself. He's like, oh, dang, I'm in a real precarious situation here.
See, to me, that's like, he could have gotten out so many times. He could have stopped the situation. And it's like he let it happen. Or something. I'm like, And then at the very end, when he's still the stupid walrus.
Yeah.
And there is his little girlfriend, like throwing him fish. So stupid.
It just mentally broke him.
It did. It broke me. I think that's what it was. It just broke me. And maybe it's one of those that, like you said, if I watch it again, like in the right, like with like other people who thought it was just stupid funny, because it's classed as a comedy horror.
That's what it is. It was made by
shooting for.
It was made by Kevin Smith, wasn't it? Like Kevin Smith is the director.
Is he? Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. I mean, I did like the pulling in of Johnny Depp in makeup as like a kind of a nice little cameo.
Yeah, he's like a French detective.
Sure, he was funny. He was funny. But yeah.
Yeah.
No more Tusk for me, please.
No more Tusk, huh?
No. I think that the creepiness of it was I don't know. It was trying to be funny about a man being sewn in, like, body morphed or whatever into a walrus, so this dude could have sex with it again or something. I just, I can't even believe I'm saying these words.
Yeah.
So, yeah, total turd. It's 1.5 stars. It's not a half star, but for me, it's 1.5. But. All right, number 4 for you.
Number 4, 2022. The movie is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, I'm with you on this one.
This movie is terrible. I wanted this movie to be good.
Same.
I wanted this movie to be good. I honestly thought that it would be, but first things first. The movie is completely and totally unrelatable.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Yeah.
Who's throwing hurricane parties? Get out of there. Get your family and get out. You don't need to be here anymore. There's a hurricane coming.
Right.
Nope. We're going to invite some more people over so we can all be in the hurricane together. That's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's my first problem. I understand that my first problem is old man grumbling about this movie. Okay? That's really it. Okay? But I also didn't like the fact that, like, in the movie poster, the movie poster gave away at least one of the kills.
Oh, it did?
So if you look at the Letterboxd movie poster,
yeah,
4 bodies, 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 you'll see in the top center, Pete Davidson.
Oh, and he's holding a big sword?
He's holding a machete.
Machete?
Up against his face.
Uh-huh.
How does Pete die in this movie? Machete to the face. That's how he dies.
Yeah, I guess.
Nope.
I mean, yes, you are completely right, Zach.
100%, Steve. Thank you. That's all I've ever wanted from you. That's all I've ever wanted is for you to just be like, yes, Zach, you're right. Gosh, got to fish for it every time. Just write it on a Post-it note and put it next to your computer. Jeez.
I will do that.
Yeah. So I didn't like the fact that was kind of given away. I also you cast Pete Davidson in your. I'm not a Pete Davidson fanboy, but you cast Pete Davidson in your movie. I guess because the horror movie trope is there has to be a final girl. That kind of means that there can't be a final guy too. But anyway, I didn't like the fact that Pete just kind of died shooting some freaking stupid TikTok video, and he hit himself in the head with a machete.
If that didn't happen, none of the stuff would have happened.
That's the other thing. It was all a matter of perspective.
Right.
All of it was a lie. The entire time. And so everyone is going on misinformation. And they're all overly reacting to a thing that nobody needs to react negatively to.
Mm-hmm.
But there wouldn't be a movie if people didn't act irrationally to very, very rational kind of things.
Right. Yeah.
It's why horror movies exist. Don't say that you'll be back. Hey, I'll be right back. No, you won't be. You're about to die. It's why that exists, right? But I think there is a threshold that I maybe have for where this movie is trying to go. Maybe it's just unmet expectations. I had an expectation for this movie. I thought that it'd be fun, and the trailer kind of makes it seem fun. But then you start to kind of watch the movie and you see how the story is really playing out, and I don't know. It's just It doesn't. The movie drained the fun out of watching this movie for me. Which
Yeah.
does that make any sense? Like,
Yeah.
because
And
I
I
think I
didn't like
think I
I didn't like the
had
characters.
right. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like. Yeah, I could probably keep going on and on and on about these several aspects. This movie could be good, probably.
Right. That's kind of I came out of this movie or watching this movie very frustrated because there was so much good that it could have been, and the way it was done, it wasn't funny. It wasn't really suspenseful. Um, I saw a review that said the strongest character was the iPhone battery that lasted the entire night with the flashlight on.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
Small
it
things like that
was
you can be fine with, but still,
right.
it's
Not
anyway.
well done.
All right, man. What's your number 4?
Number 4, The Descent.
The Descent. Oh man, I really wanted this one. I wanted to watch this one.
Okay, so most people like this movie, from what I can tell. Looking at my activity from friends on Letterboxd, 4 star, 4 star, 3.5 star, 4 star, 3.6 average. I general premise. There's some friends. These women, they're friends together. One of the woman's spouse, I think, or something like this, has died. I forget exactly. Anyway, they're taking her out. They like to go spelunking and rock
Okay.
climbing together, and so they're gonna like, let's go take your mind off of the thing and let's go get out and have some fun. So they're going to this really well-known cave system that she hadn't been to, but one of the one leading leading the group has taken them into a different cave system that has been unexplored because they thought that'd be fun to go to the unexplored cave system. And they don't find out about this until they're way into the caves. And she's like, spoiler alert, we're not where we thought we were. And the problem with that is that the tunnel collapsed and they can't get back. So they finally figure out that the scariest part is them getting into the caves. That's legitimately on the edge of my seat, scratching into the arms of the chair. It was very scary and intense getting into the cave system. But when they get to and long story short, there are people in the cave system who are like a subspecies of human,
Of course.
and they attack them, and then I don't want to give absolutely all of it away, but the reason this is like such a low rating for me, I think it's 2 stars or something. The reason I have such a low rating for me is that I couldn't get over how ridiculous it was. At one point, so all these like subspecies of human people, they got great hearing, but they don't have any sight. They don't see at all. Because why do you need to see? It's in the pitch black of the darkness underneath the world. At one point, one of the gals is holding a torch that's like flickering and making like torch sounds, and because fire is not completely silent, and she's standing literally next to one of these creatures who doesn't hear her or smell her or sense that she's there, and it just walks right past her. Like, what? And then other times they seemingly can hear anything, and then there's no consistency. If they would have left the creatures out of the movie, 4-star movie, because there's a lot of tension between the women in the movie. If my friend takes me into a cave system that is unexplored and we get caught, I'm going to be pissed.
Right.
And there's going to be tensions. There's going to be problems. Someone almost falls down to a big pit. We've got to save them. All this stuff. There was plenty in this movie to be a scary movie about going into cave system without having some stupid monster that it's not in any way at all feasible, but they try to make it feasible. That's the thing. Again, horror movies have crazy stuff, that doesn't make any sense, that's supernatural, whatever. They tried to explain this all with science about how people evolve differently down here, whatever. Did not do it for me. So just I don't know. Oh, I'm reading from my review on Letterboxd. It said, "Are you telling me that an entire freaking race of man-eating maniacs that evolved to live in absolute darkness and hunt on the surface at night can't hear a camcorder from 3 inches away?" Or the woman holding the said camcorder breathing heavily. Like, she has this camcorder that has night mode on it, and so that's how she's seeing. And one of the creatures literally is like 3 inches away from her face. And the camcorder, you can hear the camcorder.
Yeah.
It's going, you know? And it's an old-timey, not old-timey, but it's an older camcorder that has like the actual tape moving in it.
Yeah.
And she's going, and the monster's literally in her face and doesn't notice she's there. So anyway, yeah, it just, so much of that was, the movie was, like you said early on in this episode, takes me out of the movie. It distracts me from the movie and think, I understand this is about monsters, but this is just too ridiculous. So,
yeah, well, now I'll never watch it. I'm just kidding.
Well, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
right.
But watch it. There are enough people that like this movie. I just don't understand why. That's just me. What is? I think we're coming up on the last ones, man.
Yeah.
What is your last one? That a stinker for today?
My final smoking hot turd. The last little nugget in the bottom of the bowl.
That's a little too visceral.
That visual picture for our listeners. So, again, wanted this movie to be at least somewhat decent. It's not necessarily classified as a horror movie. It is classified as a thriller. But okay. I'm going to say that not only is there pretty horrible stuff that happens in this movie, there's pretty horrifying stuff that is happening in this movie. And I think if anybody were dropped into this particular scenario, yeah, pretty horrific kind of stuff. They would definitely be horrified. My final entry in Smokin Hot Turds is the movie Cocaine Bear. This movie does not need to exist. Elizabeth Banks did not need to make this movie. As a matter of fact,
this one does surprise me that you don't like this.
I feel so strongly about this is a quintessential Smokin Hot Turds candidate. I'll say this. Everyone associated with this project, everyone associated with the making of this movie, needs to take the next 10 years and not be able to make a movie. You're timeout. You're in a timeout. Okay? And there's no reason why this movie needs to be a Smokin Hot Turd, but the story, the actual story behind this movie is less exciting than the movie itself, which means that it's just fantastical for no real reason. It's just fantastical for fantastical sake, right? A simple phone call to the police would have taken care of this.
Yeah.
Logically, a simple phone call. And I was in the theater and I kept saying to myself, why has no one called the police yet? Just all you have to do is you're right next to a phone. Just call the police. Just call the police. They have the ability to take this bear down. But the bear kept finding bags of cocaine and kept getting stronger and stronger. And you're like, whoa, this bear is becoming Superman. And also, Steve, how many people do you think had guns in this movie? The answer is everyone. Everyone. It's
America.
Well, not just that. No. No. Everyone had access to guns. How many people shot at this bear? Almost no one.
Yeah.
Almost no one. They were just standing there with one hand empty and the other hand got a gun, and no one's like, hey, we should shoot this bear in the head and kill it because it's hopped up on cocaine, and it's crazy. And then also, if we shoot this bear will bleed out. Nope. The bear at one point spit out bullets. Ray Liotta, the great Ray freaking Liotta, shot, exactly, R.I.P., shot this bear, pumped it full of lead, as it were, like it's in a mafia movie, and the bear went, no says I, Ray Liotta, and just spit out a bucket of bullets.
That
and
was amazing.
Like, no, Steve, we have very different definitions of the word amazing.
The movie was such a farce.
This movie...
It was funny.
Nope.
Comedy horror, Zach.
I understand the genre of this. I understand. There were funny aspects of this movie. I'm not saying the movie's not funny. I'm saying that this movie is a complete turd. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about Smokin Hot Turds, Steve. There's a time and a place for him. Turds are a part of everyday life. Everybody poops every day. If you don't poop every day, you may be able to go see a doctor about that. You know what I mean? Take some Metamucil. Get it out of your body. It's not cool, right? But, you know, I can't even process and articulate at this point. I can't even. I literally lost the train of thought as I was thinking about turds, which is, again, a very crazy sentence to say. Yeah, this movie, this movie has its place. I will say this. This movie has its place. If you're just high at maybe your mind, I don't know, and then you just want to watch something fun and stupid, and you don't have to think, this is the movie for you. So I'm not saying that this movie is unwatchable, full stop, never going to watch again. I'm saying that this movie is completely, I don't know, it could be good. This bear outran a full speed ambulance. I don't know that that's possible. I don't know that bears have the ability to outrun, because it ran and jumped inside that stupid ambulance and ripped those people apart. And you were like, time out. I don't know that that's possible. But apparently, cocaine is Superman juice to bears, and they'll be able to outlive anybody and do anything. Yeah. It was wild. Also, the bear was CGI the whole time, and obviously, why wouldn't it be? Because they can't train a whole bear to eat that amount of cocaine. And, like, it was bad CG. And
well, according to the internet, which is never wrong, grizzly bears can get up to 40 miles an hour.
I don't know if you know this or not, Steve.
Yeah.
Ambulances have the ability to drive faster than 40 miles an hour. Even 41 is faster than 40. And that bear, like, I mean, it was coming, dude. It was like,
it was good. Yeah.
It was coming for you. And I'm like, and also, there's no way that they're not pressing that down on that pedal like crazy. And also, close the back doors. Why are they open? This movie had so many illogical moments in it.
There's so much illogical about this whole thing
that I was astounded. But I also sat in the theater and went, this movie didn't hit any red lights in the entire process. The entire process to make this movie was just one gigantic green light. Like, it was like every idea they had for a bear to ingest cocaine, they did. They were like, hey, what if the bear did this? Yup. What if the bear did that? Yup. What if the bear did this? Yup. And they were just, at some point, this movie is the reason why you gotta stay away from Yes Friends, okay? Because Yes Friends, they just agree with everything that you do, and then you end up with you end up cocaine bearing your life, and then you end up in my Smokin Hot Turds episode of the podcast. You know what I mean? So like, you don't want that. You don't want to end up in the Lord Smokin Hot Turds episode. At the end of the day, you don't want that. So you just get your life together. And
I respect your opinion. This, you are the man who loves killer clowns. So
yeah, that's the best. That's the best movie, Steve. I keep saying it. You feel like you don't believe me at this point.
Cocaine Bear, but I thought it was fun. I mean, it terrible. Have you seen Cocaine Bear? Yeah, you have. I saw it at somebody's house.
What did he say?
Noah saw it at his friend's house. I thought it was hilarious and it was so stupid. It was fun.
What did he think?
He said it was terrible. My son said it was terrible.
Yes, of course it is. Noah
Zach agrees with you.
No one knows exactly what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, it was a yeah. I'll just leave it at
that. You gave this movie 4 stars. I would like to take a compilation of all the movies that you've given 4 stars to, and just go. Why?
It's possible there was an edible involved in this rating. I am not quite sure. There was not cocaine involved. We'll say that.
Well,
but
that's good, I guess.
It was fun. It was a fun watch. It's a turd, but sometimes turds it feels kind of good after you're done.
Yeah. That's why I said
continue the analogy further than we want it to go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why I said that even though a movie may be called a Smokin Hot Turd, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch it, and it also doesn't mean that there's never a moment that it's just one and done.
Right.
Also, this whole thing is subjective. What is a Smokin Hot Turd to me might not be a Smokin Hot Turd to you or anybody else who's still listening at this point, because I'm sure that nobody's listening at this point, dude. Just a bunch of dudes ramble on and on and on about movies. But anyway, we hope that you are. If you're still listening, we love you.
All right, last one.
Yes,
for me,
last one
for today. I mentioned it in a previous episode. The Special.
The Special. What is this movie?
The Special is so bad. That's one of my reviews. It just says no. It's a 2020 quote unquote horror movie. It's supposed to be a comedy horror, and I guess it kind of is. It says the special subtitle. See it with, or not subtitle, like the title of the synopsis says, "See it with someone you hate."
All right.
Suspecting his wife of infidelity, Jerry is persuaded by his best friend to accompany him to a brothel to sample the special, which proves to be a life-changing experience in more ways than one, because every pleasure has its price. So, dude thinks his wife's cheating on him. Spoiler alert, she's not. But his friend, who obviously has great advice, says, "Well, if she's cheating on you, you need to go hook up with a hooker." And he's like, "No, that's not going to happen." He's like, "Trust me, I'll take you to this place and I'll have you try the special." And he's like, "Okay." So they take him to this room, and they close the door behind him, and they send him in the room. And the special is a box sitting on a table with a hole in it that says, "Put it in here." And there's like a lock on the back of the box. And so he does. He follows instructions. And he's like blown away, and his mind is just blown for how amazing this experience was, the sensual experience. So he goes back, and his friend's like, don't go back. You should not go to the special. You're clearly the wrong kind of person for the special because you're too obsessed with it. He's like, I gotta go back. So he goes back multiple times. until the brothel owner says, "You're not allowed to come back anymore. No more. No more special for you." So what does he do?
He breaks in.
He kills her.
Okay.
Steals the special. He goes and gets like a cheap motel where he keeps the special, and he goes to the hotel like every day after work.
Oh my gosh.
And after a while, he starts like getting like hives and stuff all over him, and he's like getting sick. And the bouncer at the brothel where he was said it somehow gets a message out there and says like, if can you please return the special to me, because I know what's going on, I know what's happening with you. And so he finally, like, the guy ends up having to kill his wife. He kills his friend.
Whoa!
To keep the special as his secret. He finally takes it out to his house, opens the box, and what's inside of the box? It's this like gooey orb thing, like I don't know, like size of a volleyball.
Okay.
It's like kind of pulsing, and he's like take care of it. He like puts it in bed with him and stuff, and he loves the special. And so keep in mind, this entire time the acting is horrible, the lighting's bad, the camera work is bad. It's just bad. His friend comes in, sees the special, and he's like, "What the heck, dude? You need to go. You need to see somebody." That's when he kills his friend. And then, but he gets so sick, he's just desperate at this point. And so he goes he finds the guy, the bouncer, and he's like, "You gotta help me. You gotta help me." He's like, "Okay, you just like sit here in this room. I'll go get something to take care of this for you, and like some medicine or whatever. You're gonna be fine." He's like, "You gotta help me, dude. You're gonna be fine." So he leaves, and the guy is like continuing to like fall apart, and like his skin's starting to drip off of him and stuff, and his fingers are falling off, and it's a bad situation. While he's sitting in there, you see clips of this bouncer guy making a box and sanding it down, painting it, writing on the front, put it in here. And he goes into the guy's room where he's told him to wait. And the guy is so sick and his skin's turned black. The bouncer, pulls his head off, puts his head in the box, and locks it, and puts it in the brothel.
No! That's the craziest movie. Steve, that wins. That wins. That's the number one Smokin Hot Turd.
It was a train wreck that I couldn't stop watching. I'm
watching this movie tonight, just so we're all on the same page. We're going to stop the episode, and I'm going to go get dinner, and then go watch this movie right now. I will be posting about this movie on our Instagram as I watch it.
It was possibly the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
In every way you can imagine.
Wow.
It was thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Yes. Good.
Even though I spoiled the whole thing, but it was a turd that actually was kind of horrifying at the end.
Yeah.
But like I think I said a couple episodes ago, this was a movie that could have it was a Black Mirror episode that just went on too long. An interesting idea, but no, never should have happened. Never.
Oh my gosh.
It's classed as a comedy horror technically in on the onlines, but
well, yeah, but also so is Treevenge. So let's be honest with ourselves, okay?
Yeah, true.
And if nobody knows what Treevenge is, you need to go watch this movie or short film. You need to watch it because it's and not with the children present. Oh my gosh, you're gonna ruin Christmas forever with them. Oh my goodness.
Well, with that, hopefully I didn't traumatize anybody listening.
Yes.
But you're listening to a horror podcast, so it's your fault.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we should probably ask, like, what are your Smokin Hot Turds? Like,
Yeah,
you
I
share
want
with
to
us
hear.
what your Smokin Hot Turds are. We got the voicemail that you can call. We got the email that you can send us an email. Instagram, don't show up at our houses, all of that kind of stuff. Do you other ways to share your Smokin Hot Turds? And if you have opinions about why our Smokin Hot Turds should be not Smokin Hot Turds, you keep those opinions to yourself, because we know that we're right. And hopefully people understood that as a joke, and we don't get a bunch of hate in the comments and all that. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for the fun time.
Yeah.
And the laughs, and even though I can be wrong, you can be wrong, but as long as we agree that they're Smokin Hot Turds, that's all we need to know.
Yeah. Speaking of Smokin Hot Turds, I wanted to go watch the movie Imaginary.
Oh.
I wanted to go watch it this past week, this upcoming week, I should say. And I just saw a review that it's as bad as Night Swim was. And apparently Night Swim was an unwatchable
I didn't see that
Blumhouse horror movie. So an Imaginary is from Blumhouse. And I heard that it's not that great. So I might have a new entry in Smokin Hot Turds, because that review did not deter me from buying the ticket already. And so
I await your review.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go see it, and we will find out whether or not we got a new entry in Smokin Hot. I don't know if it's gonna beat the special. That might be King Smokin Hot Turd. That might be the Smokin Hot Turd King.
All right, well, see you later. Have fun at the movie. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
See ya. All right, listeners, that's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.